Panasonic has a pretty steep evolution of their mirrorless cameras, and now they have a pretty big market share inside for the videography market for their hybrid cameras in 2025. Now many people complain that the older bodies have a pretty much more natural organic image than the newer autofocus bodies, which have pretty sharp and over detailed images. Why is that? We're gonna check out in this video. Coming up. Hi guys, my name is Paul. I'm a German-based cinematographer, and this channel is all about filmmaking gear reviews, but also DaVinci Resolve tutorials. So if that's something that you're interested in, consider subscribe. That really helps the channel. And you can also support this channel by getting our new design merch. We have over 30 different designs. They're really cool, tailored exactly for filmmakers and content creators. So really proud of this. Just check it out. So as I've said, in this video we are looking deeper into Panasonic's lineup, and we have here the S1 Mark II as well as the OG S1H, which I'm still loving that camera. Then we have the S5 IIX and also the original S5. So where you have especially those two cameras is there was kind of the change happening according to many rumors that from the S5 II, Panasonic has leveled up their game in terms of video autofocus. So now they have a pretty reliable autofocus, but that came kind of a cost. So that means that the image which is rendered inside the camera looks more detailed, more crisp, and kind of overly sharp and overly detailed. So our test condition were as follows. We used the Sigma 24-70 at 70mm in f-stop at around 4 to 5.6, and we didn't use any filter at all, so we cranked up the shutter, so my filmmaker heart was bleeding. And we also used the Contax 85mm just to check if that will change anything, but more on that later. So if we compare all these four images here side by side, we definitely see kind of a differentiation between the colors. And as I've already said in my reviews on and on about so many Panasonic cameras, that I personally still prefer the S1H the most, and that's also when I'm looking at these images, quickly followed by the original S5, but also the S1 Mark II is color-wise really nice. So but we are now especially looking for the sharpening, and I'm paying a close attention detail to my skin detail and my beard and something like that to see if there's a substantial difference. And yes, there is one. And it's exactly as the rumors are kind of saying, if we can say that are these really rumors, but I think that's more like an objection from many people that are using Panasonic cameras, me included. So we can directly see that the S1H, which is the only one of these cameras which has an OLPF, is the least sharpest of that one, but it's still detailed and the image looks good. But if we check the skin details in the S1 II and the S5 IIX, we see a totally different story. So we can see much more kind of fine details in my hair, in my beard, and also in my skin texture. So that looks overly sharp from my perspective. The S5 II looks color-wise really good, and also doesn't also have an OLPF. Looks quite good, but doesn't look as overly sharp as the other two cameras. So then I was figuring out, hey, okay, which one is the sharpest of them all? And I would say that the S1 II is equally as sharp as the S5 IIX, so for the kind of sharpening that is going on inside the image. But the S1 Mark II has also kind of the over-sharpening details in the image. I see that all the time when I'm looking at my hair and something like that, and also in my skin texture. It looks like a little bit more crisp on the S1 II. So I say like that the sharpening in the image is the same. The S5 IIX has maybe a little bit more contrast right in the image, whereas the S5 II has something going on until also the detail sharpening, and that's something that is not really good. And this is something that many people are complaining about, that Panasonic should kind of fix that. So I thought about, hey, let's bring out TIFF and Black Promise filter to see if that changes anything. And yes, we can see it smooths out the skin texture a little bit. So I wouldn't say it's as good as, for example, in the S1H, but we also have the problem here that the shadows are kind of lifted and the contrast is kind of gone away. So I also used a vintage lens, which is the Contax 85mm, to see if maybe an old vintage lens is helping to do that. Certainly, yes, it does, but it's still worse than kind of using a promised filter or something like that. So you still see kind of the pattern over and over again with the over detailed sharpening and stuff like that. So all of these methods that we can do practically don't really work the way we want to. So I found that the easiest way that you can do is, for example, if we take that image here from the S1H and also from the S1 Mark II, if we apply a little bit of mid-tone detail reduction, so by around -20, it looks about equal then compared to the S1H. So this is something that is also takes you a little bit more time in terms of post-processing and stuff like that. But from my testing, that was really the only way that I could get them to match from the texture-wise and everything like that. But also, I totally agree with all the other users that were stating the same issues here. And I feel like the same way, and that's also the reason why I still love using my S1H, because it has an old PF and also the image looks really nice and organic. And I find for one time that the kind of newer models, it applies to the S5 II, S5 IIX, S9, S1, and so on and so forth, that the colors are kind of a little bit over the top. They're still very good, but I think the colors from the original S1H are still the best in my opinion. And also which is much worse, I think, is the kind of in-camera sharpening. And that's something that you cannot turn off. So really, please, Panasonic, I think you would make many people happy if you kind of, yeah, can even that out so that it's not overly as sharp as the cameras are right now. Because also from my taste, it is overly sharp and it's overly detailed and it doesn't look natural at all. Some people like that, many people don't. So tell me in the comments below what you think, and I hope this video was helpful to you. And if you like this channel, again, please help subscribe to this channel that you don't miss any of the upcoming content. And I'm gonna see you in my very next one. Cheers!